Greetings, Mind Crafters, and welcome to another Mindcraft episode this morning. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and I am so excited to be here to discuss yet, just another way to become the boss of your brain. And we've been talking about this because, after all, becoming the boss of your brain is the whole foundation of Minecraft, which is sort of understanding that thoughts come first, which bring about feelings, which then lead to whatever action or behavior. So, in other words, we cannot feel nervous, anxious, depressed, or whatever if we don't think nervous, anxious, depressed thoughts first. And today is going to be a conversation. We're going to talk about the five components of well being, or let's just say the recipe for well being, according to the great one and only Marty Seligman, considered to be the founder let's just say founding father of positive psychology. There you go. So to start out here, like I said, Dr. Marty Seligman, most people in the biz of positive psychology would consider him to be the founding father for absolutely sure. And I have to tell you, I was on a not a committee, it was way bigger than that. Kind of like a summit, I guess I would say, International Positive Education and Appreciative Inquiry Summit with him. And uh, wow, I have to tell you how impressed. I mean, obviously think the positive psychology guy is going to be super nice, which he absolutely was. It's not just a nice thing though. He's just very, very authentic, so authentic, and it was just such a pleasure to be part of this with him. And we met at Champlain College for a summit kind of seminar. I say meeting is a lot of people. It's people came again internationally, came from all over the place, and then again in Texas. And just listening to him talk, he has such a mission, to have people flourishing within his lifetime. Actually, his mission is to have 51%, so that it's the majority, even if a slight majority, it's the majority of the population of the whole world will be flourishing in his lifetime, which is, um, a pretty incredible mission to have. So Marty came up with an acronym, uh, PERMA, PERMA, ages ago. I want to say it was back in the 70s, but a really long time ago. And this he describes as being the recipe for well being. And so the P, to begin with, is for positive emotion. And in order to be well, we had this conversation, I think, in the last episode, talking about well being. Well being means to be well. That's really what it is. In order to be well, we need to experience positive emotions most of the time. So, obviously no one is happy 100% of the time. However, we can be experiencing, because happy is not the only positive emotion, right? We can be experiencing positive emotions most of the time by consciously choosing to shift out of the negative ones. So it doesn't mean to deny how we feel. If we had something bad happen that day and there's a horrible breakup, or if it's a friend's horrible breakup and you feel for him or her or them or whatever, it doesn't mean to feel is to heal, definitely, right? And then to consciously choose to close the chapter and shift out of that, because whatever thought place we choose to land in is how we are then going to feel. Okay, next. Okay, and actually it said happiness is not the only positive emotion, right? So um, we can experience tremendous life satisfaction and comfort and pleasure and joy most of the time. Okay, so the E stands for engagement, and this is about being actively engaged in our lives, having an appreciation for our life minutes, and that these are, our most valuable and most precious commodity, and that they're also limited, right? They're limited to be actively engaged in our lives every day, which means living deliberately. It means being aware and alert and in the present moment. Um, and then, a consistent active engagement often leads to something called flow, which is another one of my faves. In addition to Marty, is Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, and he is sort of the man behind the theory of cognitive flow, which is kind of an altered state of consciousness, not like in a unhealthy, substance induced kind of way, but in a purely joyful, um, just very natural, very authentic manner where one feels you kind of feel like one with the music. That's what Marty says, one with the music or one with the universe, with whatever it is you're doing. Whether it's if your thing is writing and you disappear into it, or it's acting and you disappear into it, or it's swimming or running or skiing, you disappear into it, playing writing or playing music, um, whatever it is. And we're not just talking about just a little bit of pleasure and joy, but it's an altered state of consciousness where it's when we are in the zone. So when we're in flow, we actually lose we lose our sense of self, and not in a codependent way, but in a bigger than self way, I guess is the way to explain it, because this is authentic. And we lose track of time. It's just, have you ever been, let's say your thing is playing with your band in the garage, and you start jamming, and all of a sudden it's now it's dark, and 8 hours went by and it felt like 5 minutes. That's what we're talking about with flow. And then the R is for relationships. And we know for certain 100%, or close to 100% as anybody knows anything, that relationships are the biggest box to check for longevity, which obviously means leading, living a very long life, and a long and happy life. And so it's important to realize that when we're talking about relationships, we're not just, it's not a quantity situation, it's a quality situation. So, um, toxic relationships anywhere along the scale of unhealthy relationships is not what we're talking about. We're also not saying people are perfect, because we aren't, but the toxics are whole in a league of their own, and they actually send us backwards. So we're talking about positive relationships, and here's the sort of criteria. That's basically one thing: that person that you can count on no matter what. It doesn't mean you didn't have words and you got in an argument 3 years ago or yesterday or whatever, but when it comes right down to it, even if you were, you had words or whatever, and then this person knows something serious happened to you, would drop all the petty stuff in a New York second. And if it happened at 3 o'clock in the morning, you could call them, and they would stay on the phone with you as long as you needed to. That's what we're talking about. If you have even one of those in your life, you're doing well. If you have two, you are richer beyond imaginability. And three, just diamonds forever. So that's what we're talking about, is positive relationships. So um and then the rest of, regular, it's like layers of an onion, right? You have your cabinet we're talking about. Then you've got layers of the onion. You've got, a nice group of friends that's, going to the movies, or, this, that, small talk, all the kind of thing. That's just sauce on the Sunday. All right. So this is how we live a long life, engaging with positive relationships and putting tons of investing tons of energy into these. Okay, the M stands for meaning. I cannot say enough about this, uh because without a sense of meaning and purpose, it's a straight road to depression. And we would just, without a sense of meaning, we're basically on this wonderful path, on this wonderful planet. We're basically just, sort of spinning our wheels and using up oxygen without any personal growth. It just, there's not a lot of point. So we've all got the meaning, and we've all got the purpose. That one thing we're meant to do in this world, we just have to we just have to discover it. It's there like treasure. It's like an archaeological dig, chiseling away, or like think like treasure, and you got to search for it because it's there. And then lastly, the A stands for accomplishment. And we're not talking, especially since in the good old US of A, we're so accomplishment oriented. It doesn't mean be an overachiever and a workaholic. It means have some sense of accomplishment, and to be productive, and to contribute to the world. When we are not doing this, it's a straight road to sad. Also, it doesn't matter if you're volunteer, it doesn't matter if you get paid, it doesn't matter if you're not doing 40 hours a week and you're doing 10. As long as you're contributing in some way with other human beings, this is, we need this to feel good. It's just how it is. Laziness and overall disengagement with life make us unwell. And so the sense of accomplishment um, helps to fill our bucket. We talked about that. We have, to keep our bucket as full as possible. because we cannot give what we don't have. And that accomplishment feeling also puts drops in our bucket. So, and Marty also says, and so do lots of other people. Freud said it too. Abraham Maslow, my favorite psychologist, one of my two. Viktor Frankl's also one of my two favorites. And I know it's a contradiction. He's only supposed to have one favorite, but I can't pick because Viktor Frankl's absolutely amazing. So anyway, being a part of something larger, something bigger than ourselves, absolutely fills up our bucket overflowing and feeds the spirit. Okay, so then I kind of start out talking about the flourishing. So I'll just reiterate quickly because it's usually how I wind it up. I think I just got really excited talking about Marty. So and God, he gets so emotional up there. He's just so genuinely passionate about his mission to kind of spread positivity all over the place. And so flourishing. So Marty Seligman defines flourishing as to find fulfillment in our lives, accomplishing meaningful and worthwhile tasks, and connecting with others at a deeper level. In essence, living the good life. And so, it's sort of very important to realize that, we all want to feel happy, right? And, doing this and that for people and being in loving relationship, the whole thing, happy, 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 doing what we love in every kind of way. And the thing is, and that's great because we all obviously want to feel good. The thing is that happiness only lasts so long, and it has to keep, it's fleeting, it comes and goes. Whereas fulfillment involves, meaning and purpose, and will last much, much longer than the in and out sort of fleeting happiness. And that's really what we're talking about, is feeling happy and having it leading us into a place of flourishing, where we have that sense of meaning and purpose, and we are feeling fulfilled with a high degree of authentic joy and life satisfaction. Okay, the recipe for well-being, there you have it, by Marty Seligman, and chatted about with myself, and that's it. Have a fantastic, very mindful day. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the very beautiful Northern Vermont.